Good morning, readers. I'm Lori. Welcome back to my channel, Books, Ink, and Paper. Today I'm going to do something I don't think I've done since I started on BookTube, and that is I'm going to ask you to vote on one of my reads in October. So I recently went through my Goodreads backlist, and I started at the beginning of when I started adding books to Goodreads, and went down the list to check out some horror/thriller reads that I could enjoy and get off the backlist in October. And I picked a few, and I find myself unable to decide. So what I'm going to do is share these with you, also share them on social media, Facebook, Instagram, maybe Twitter. I don't spend a lot of time on Twitter, but I might pop the video up there. And then I would love your feedback in the comments here or there about which one of these you think would be great for me to take onto the TBR for October. Now, you don't have to have read them. You certainly could vote because you've read them and enjoyed them, but also just vote because you think that they are intriguing and maybe you would want to read them too. So let's get started. I did try to do a video where I showed you the Goodreads scrolling, and that I'm not there. I'm just not that technologically. Maybe I am, and I just don't want to take the time to do it, but I didn't do it. So, okay, let's get going. So the Moonlit Earth by Christopher Rice. You can tell I got this from a library book sale. In the next year or so, there'll be fewer of these, I guess, because the library isn't having book sales anymore right now. Anyway, this has been on my backlist for a bit of time. I have enjoyed a few of Christopher Rice's novels over the years. This one came out in 2010. I think this is a first edition, so I'm excited about that. And it's also got the library stuff on it, so I'm going to have to get that out of there. This follows a family whose father kind of leaves them, and they have a bit of a tough time surviving as a family growing up. And so Megan and Cameron Reynolds have a unbreakable bond because they were together when their father walked out, but then they go their separate ways. And at 30, Megan returns to where her mother lives, and Cameron's worried about her going back home, but she's more worried about him because he's kind of lost his way, supposedly, and he has gone off and lived in different places and is kind of living this vagabond life with wealthy people and different, I guess, maybe challenges. And then a bombing occurs, and she discovers that her brother is involved. So that is the plot of this one. And again, I've read some others of Christopher Rice's novels, and I like them. Sorry about the glare. I really do need to remove this cover. He is the daughter of Anne Rice and her husband, whose name I can't remember. Stan Rice. He's a poet. Of course, Anne Rice writes horror. Christopher Rice writes sort of thrillerish, not really horror, but thrillerish family characters, well-developed, that kind of intrigue and mystery, and usually a group of people who are kind of trying to save someone in some way. So this sounds a lot like his other work, and so you tell me what you think about that. I'll tell you what it's rated on Goodreads. 3.82, so not bad at all. The next one is a book I've wanted to read for a while and haven't gotten to. It doesn't have a jacket cover, but it's The House on the Strand by Daphne du Maurier. I do love Daphne du Maurier, and she writes some suspense, usually romance, suspenseful kinds of thrillers, mysteries. This one is so interesting. So the main character's name is Dick, and he is lent a home to live in for a time in exchange for his agreement that he will try an experimental drug that was created by his friend who owns the home. And he agrees to do that. And apparently the drug causes him to be able to travel back and forth in time to some degree. I don't want to know a whole lot more about it. And I know that this was my sister's copy. I know that she read it and did enjoy it. And Daphne du Maurier's work is something that I keep trying to get to and haven't. So I'd love to give this a chance in the next couple of months. But if you think that this one is the one for me, vote for Daphne du Maurier's The House on the Strand. It's gotten 3.82 stars as well. 3.84 stars. So good rating there. Definitely almost 4 stars. I think she's not as well read now as she was when she was popular in her heyday, so to speak. It does have a map, which I appreciate always. So she's a very prolific writer. She's written a lot of novels, and this one came out in 1969. So she's probably not as popular, although maybe more popular recently because My Cousin Rachel came out as an adaptation with Rachel Weisz. So, there's that, but The House on the Strand, for your consideration. The next one on my backlist is The House of Velvet and Glass by Catherine Howe. Now, I did read the Physic Book of Deliverance Dane, and I have another one or two of hers on my shelf that I haven't read. But this one is the one that's been on my list the longest. It was published in 2012. It does not have a huge rating on Goodreads. It's only 3.33, which is a little low for me. And yet I have it and I'm intrigued by it. So it's a bit of a historical romance suspense thriller, I think. It follows Sybil Alston, whose mother and sister were killed on the Titanic, and she's living in Boston, and she discovers a psychic medium and goes for a reading with a crystal ball, just to kind of find out, I guess, her next direction. And then her brother leaves Harvard, is kicked out, and he falls under the sway of a mysterious woman. So she partners with someone, a psychology professor, to discover what happened to her brother, I think, and what to do and to solve a mystery. And they go through Chinatown and then Shanghai, it looks like. It says it's a meticulous period detail, intoxicating romance, and a final shocking twist that will leave readers breathless. Okay, so The House of Velvet and Glass, beautiful cover, I think, and not, it's a nice size book, but not terribly dense, so that's good. I'm curious if any of you have ever read anything else by Catherine Howe. I really did like the Physic Book of Deliverance Dane. And the last one is The Fifth Gospel by Ian Caldwell. And again, these are somewhat, this one is a thriller. The others have been a little bit magical in nature. But this one is, I think my partner Lisa has read this one. This one has also a map of Vatican City in 2004. And this was published in 2015, and it got 3.72 rating on Goodreads. So it follows it's set in Rome, which I always love, and it connects to the Catholic Church, again, something I love. So what happens is there's an exhibit under construction at the Vatican Museums, and a week before it's scheduled to open, a curator of that museum is found murdered. And then a break-in happens in the curator's research partner's home, Father Alex Andrew, who's a priest who lives inside the Vatican. And so there's an investigation of the crime, and then something comes up around another gospel, and some other intriguing things happen, and it sounds thrilling to me. It sounds a little bit like Dan Brown to me, and his studying the old papal papers and all those things. So yeah, The Fifth Gospel, Ian Caldwell. He also wrote a book called The Rule of Four, but there was a big period of time between The Rule of Four and The Fifth Gospel. And it actually says, David Baldacci says, for those who might compare it to Da Vinci Code, don't. It stands alone and will become a very high standard for any novel in this genre. Okay, The Fifth Gospel. So for your consideration to vote on my next October read from my backlist, The Fifth Gospel by Ian Caldwell, Secret Catholic Church Murder and Intrigue and Mystery, Catherine Howe, The House of Velvet and Glass, Titanic, historical, suspense, crystal ball, medium, thriller, mystery, sounds like. Almost want to make a jacket cover for this. The House on the Strand, Daphne du Maurier, Isolated House in Cornwall, I think, Taking Drugs, Traveling Back in Time, Having Out-of-Body maybe experiences, The Moonlit Earth, Sisters worried about her brother, brother's off running around with wealthy people, maybe responsible for a bombing in Hong Kong, so creates a sort of an intrigue across the world. Those are your choices. So I'm going to close the voting. When am I going to close the voting on this? Sunday, the 27th of September. So that gives you a little over a week to vote. And I feel like that'll be enough for me to get a good idea. I'll tally all of the votes from all the different platforms, of course, and then I'll announce in my TBR for October, that video, which one won in your Pick My Next Read contest or poll contest. Don't forget to go to my give my video a while ago that also says giveaway. Back in Time revisit video from September 2019, but the video came out about 3 weeks ago. There's a giveaway. It's in the title. So if you haven't already, comment on that video, like it. Make sure you're a subscriber to enter to win the Separation Anxiety book. That's right there. It's always hard for me to do. I have it out so I won't forget. And I'm going to draw the winner for that next week on my birthday, which is the 23rd of September. So I'll either be announcing on the 23rd or the 24th, getting ready to spend a couple days with my grandkids, which I'm so excited about, while their parents and my other kids go away on a little getaway. And I will make sure to remember to pick a winner from that list of people who have commented, liked, and are subscribed so that you can win the copy, and then I'll get it mailed out to you as soon as I can. So that video, take a look at the backlist. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. And I hope you'll vote on this particular video, because I really am excited about releasing my decision to the majority of my subscribers and viewers. I appreciate you so much. Welcome to those of you who are new. I've been getting to know some of you in the comments, and I'm so thrilled that you're here. And as always, happy reading. Bye.